Cancer, welcome to your hopes, fears, and reality spread. Just as a quick reminder, the hopes, fears, and reality spread is intended to get you out of your head and a little bit more grounded in reality so you can get your intellect and intuition working together for greater focus. It talks about the spread in the description box below, and that one flipped over. Did anything else flip over? It also mentions the deck being used in the description box. Cancer, you guys are a hardworking group, and lately in your readings, it talks about not wanting to put in all the effort or not wanting to 100% control the situation. Very interesting. So for your hopes, you have the Eight of Pentacles in the inverse, and you have the Nine of Swords. Or, I'm sorry, the Nine of Wands. My coffee hasn't kicked in quite yet. What this says to me is that you are, again, hoping not to have complete control over a situation, but still be able to maintain your boundaries. And that's a very difficult thing to do. This shows me almost like the beginning of negotiation. But this negotiation isn't with another person. This negotiation, Cancer, is with yourself. It feels to me like your value systems are changing and you want to remain true to who you are and who you've always been. But there are changes that you want to make within yourself. And you're hoping that it won't be nearly as much work as it has been over the past couple of months. The fear is that you will become overwhelmed with emotion in this process and that you may not be able to handle the responsibilities of that emotional overwhelmment. Sometimes it feels like you've gone through the process of wanting to change something about yourself in your head. And now, because you've been in practice of that for a while, for maybe a couple of months now it feels like you're practicing it with your heart. And that's a little scary for you because you're a very passionate person and your heart has a tendency to run away with you from time to time. The reality of the situation is you have two endings here. Okay? So you have the World in the inverse and you have the Ten of Swords in the inverse. The reality of the situation is you are coming upon the hardest part of this journey if you are really trying to make changes within yourself, which is why it can feel so scary and so emotionally overwhelming. Yeah, see, as you're recognizing the things of your past that used to hold value that don't hold the same value as the unknown. And that's a scary thing for people, is to leave something of value behind and walk into the unknown. But you have spent a lot of time and effort really thinking about this. So it's not just like a split decision, like you're running from your past. This is you actually calculating what should I leave behind and what should I keep with me. And you still want to defend those values that you grew up with. And that's why it's difficult, because to reframe an old value system in order to accept a new one that you define kind of gets rid of that benchmark of the value system that you, how do I put this? When you grow up with a value system that's instilled upon you by community and family, you have a benchmark for what's good and what isn't, what should be and what shouldn't be, because you look to everybody else, because as a group, you've defined this thing, whether it was put on you or even if you were a leader of that group, say a parent, is there's an agreement to the way things should be. You're recognizing that there's something in you that isn't in agreement with what the group recognizes as the way things should be, and you want to change that within yourself. So it is scary to disconnect from that community a little bit, to actually go within yourself and see what that higher good is and what's better for you. That's the void that you're feeling right now. And it does feel like a void, doesn't it? It feels like you're entering this new thought pattern or thought process without a safety net. Cancer, this is a really uncomfortable step in what is eventually going to be a wonderful and rewarding journey if you go all the way through with it. Because speaking from experience, when you define your value system and when you put up the boundaries that you feel are appropriate, something happens and you find a strength that you've never really had before. So, it feels to me like, from an emotional standpoint, you are pushing yourself way out of a comfort zone because you recognize something within you that just doesn't align with your tribe, with your community, with your set values of the past. And you need to be the first to step out and say, this should change. So you have to be able to do it within before you can then go back to your group, reconnect, and express it to them. Cancer, this is tough. But like I said, if you stick with it from personal experience, I know that it can be very rewarding. I hope you found a message that serves your highest good, and I will see you next time.